Hi everybody, welcome to the OAG RC. I'm Craig. Thank you very much for stopping by the channel today. We are going to start looking at hopping up the TT02B. Thanks all for your input on this. I have decided that we're going for the TT02B shocks. We're going to install the front one-way kit that I got. We're going to think about locking the rear diff. We are going to install the aluminium racing set that I've got here, and also put on the carbon fibre turnbuckles. So hopefully this will get a little bit of love, ready to be running on the Orchard Raceway in 2026. I'm not going to show you it all step by step. I'm going to do some work, show you what I've done. You guys can comment. You can tell me if you think I've made some mistakes, and we'll see how we get on modifying this chassis, which is one of the Orchard Raceway's all-time champions. However, recently been upstaged by the Top Force Evo. I'm not going to expect this to compete with the Top Force Evo, but I do hope that it will be more competitive against the Thunder Dragon and the Terra Scorcher in future events. Right, let's get started. Right, first step was to get the wheels off, the body off, and the rear wing off, and just start to think about logically how we're best going to do this. So the shocks I'll probably do last, because they'll require everything else to be done. The uprights will need to go on with the adjustable arms after we've played around with the diffs. Maybe we'll do that after we've done the uprights and got those back on. So we're going to take off the uprights, take off the shock, open up the diffs, lock this one, replace this one with the one-way, put those back together again, replace the shock towers and the arms, then change the steering mechanism, then change the shocks. I think that's the way we're going to do it. I wish I had some upgrades to the drive shaft in the middle, although because I'm only going to run a torque tuned in this, I probably don't need to worry about that too much at this point. So yeah, that's my current thought process. So let's get on taking all this apart and let's open up those diff cases one at a time, sort the rear one out, then sort the front one out. So one thing I'm noticing as I'm taking this apart, it's been a while since I've built a TT02, and I am noticing there are an awful lot of step pins holding in all of the arms and the shocks, and I just wonder whether these kits that I've got, these hop-up parts, are going to be using the step pins again, or whether they're going to use ball cups and ball joints. Don't know, I have to wait and see what it looks like once I get those hop-ups out, but I've forgotten how many of these here are present, and some of them have got really packed in with dirt over the time that they've been being used as well. So yeah, a few more of those to take apart as we get rid of all this and replace these with upper ball links at the top here and tie rods, which you all know how much I enjoy building up. For an off-road buggy, the drivetrain's actually not too bad inside. The dirt seems to have gathered around the outside edge, which means I didn't do a bad job building that diff up, the gear casing up in the first place. The grease appears to have all come off the gears, so we'll give those a re-grease before we put it all back together again. I'm just going to give these parts a wipe down with some of the hide wipes over there in a minute. But actually on the inside of there, you can see, if I just move that around so you can see it a little bit, it all doesn't look too bad. So we're just going to give a bit of a clean up around the edges and then sort the diff out. We'll re-grease it all, put it all back together again. So while everything seems to have survived so far, the bearings, look at the state of those. They really have got into a mess. So I'm going to give those a quick bath in something. That's the other side, that's the inside, and that is the outside of the bearing. Interestingly, when I built this, I used metal shield bearings, not rubber shield bearings. So I don't think these are going to hold up quite as well, but let's clean them up and let's pop them back in for now. So this is a diff off the back of the TT02B, and this was greased up back when I first built it, and it's held up reasonably well. But what I will say is I packed that full, or I thought I packed that full of grease back in the day, and while definitely everything's got a coating of grease on it still, there's not as much as I thought I put in there originally. So we're going to pop these out now. Lock and differential links left and right wheel rotation directly, taking advantage of high traction, both in grip and drift driving. Use this part to increase stress on the drivetrain, perform regular maintenance. Sounds good to me, Tamiya. Thanks for the heads up there. So we've got that open. We're just going to slide that into there, and we're going to lock that diff up. Right, it's all back together again. Last thing I'm going to do is just put a drop of this onto the bearings. I got this, I think, from Schumacher RC, which was the ultimate friction eliminator. I use this on all of my bearings. You just put a drop there, and a drop there, and that works its way around the bearing in rotation. Just helps it spin freely. I'll just flip it over and just do the same on this side as well, and it just lubricates the bearing back up again and just gets it spinning freely again, and all that is ready to go back in the drivetrain. Now what I've just realised is I don't remember which way round this came out of here, so I'm going to go back and have a quick look at the manual and make sure I put it back in here the right way, and then I'm going to re-grease everything up with some udder butter. Okay, so we're going to put some lovely udder butter all over the gears now and make sure all this is well lubricated, ready to go back in to the RC. Now this stuff is really tacky, so I don't know what difference this is going to make to the operation of the gears. We're certainly going to load it up as if I was putting this on for the first time. Let's just give that a little turn so that starts to coat up all of the other gear as well. I'll just keep going round here. I probably don't need to put quite as much on because the diff gear here is quite a bit bigger than that other smaller counter gear on the axle, so probably don't need quite as much, but let's just rotate that through, and that should give a nice even coating to the differential and the counter gear, which you can see that happening. What I love about this grease is it just sticks to the gear. Do you see that? And it doesn't fly off everywhere. It's not sort of, it's just stuck. It's just on the gear, which is great. Right, this is me attempting to give you a visual demonstration of putting screws back into Tamiya kits. Very easy to over tighten and ruin a thread on a Tamiya kit. So what I saw I think it was Norwegian RC or Nordic RC show you how to do. If you're rebuilding one of these kits, go the opposite way on the screw until it clicks. See how it's settled into the groove? And then, once it's in, you start to tighten the screw. And that way you're going into the same thread that you came out of and not risking cross-threading these very, very, very delicate Tamiya plastics. And that one there is back in nicely and done. I've tried to move everything out of the way so I can start to explain what a one-way does. So that is the one-way kit, the front one-way kit. And what it should do is it should allow the front wheels, so if you imagine these are the front wheels of the RC, when they're under drive, they'll both be operating forwards, I suppose all backwards, as in the drivetrain, as whatever the drivetrain wants to do, and the diff will be doing its normal diff thing. But when you come off the power with the one-way, the wheels just spin freely like a front two-wheel drive buggy. So if I grab a two-wheel drive buggy like this one here and just put it over here on the other camera, these wheels will spin completely freely. And that one's got a bit of a wobble to it. I don't know what's going on with that. But they spin freely. But the four-wheel drive one, these are under drive from the four-wheel drive mechanism. When you come off the power, they will spin free. So the idea is when you're off the power, the car will act like a two-wheel drive. When you hook it back up again, the wheels go back forward again in a forward momentum. So that's what a one-way is supposed to do. I have one on the Top Force Evo, and actually I could demonstrate that because you can see here, if the wheels are going forward, they're driving. If you go backwards, both wheels go, probably better on this cam, over here, overhead, both wheels going backwards are on diff. Forward, they're just spinning loose. Do you see? That's not supposed to happen on a four-wheel drive. If I do the rear ones, I'll show you the rears are a diff. Whether you go forwards or backwards, they're a diff. But these here, forwards, they just spin, backwards, they revert back to being a diff. So that's what we're going to try and do with the TT02B. We're going to try and do it exactly the same way that I've got that Top Force Evo set up with the one-way installed. This is the one-way kit. I'm hoping it's going to work in exactly the same way. So let's open this up, build this up, and then we'll see what happens. Just realised in doing this, what I've now got is a perfect differential, gear differential. I'll be able to replace that with that rear locked one if this doesn't work out as I intended it to. So that's all seated back in there now. So let's re-grease this first. Hey, so we've got the diff unit back in. So if I spin the, you can see it there perfectly. If I turn it forwards, you can see it is rotating freely. And then if I drive this here, you can see it rotating now. Yeah, that's right, under power then. So power here, it is rotating and it's driving it forwards. Come off the power and these will spin. Back on the power, they drive. Come off the power and they spin. So what you've then got is a two-wheel drive at the front and a four-wheel drive. What I've essentially now got is a front and rear locked diff and a front one-way. Well, there's only one way to find out, isn't there? And that's to give it a go on the Orchard Raceway and see what happens. But I can't help but feel no differential action at all could potentially be a bad thing. That means all four wheels are driving forward all at the same time. And if any of them lose any traction, there's no slipping. It's just going to keep going, which I think is going to make this thing more difficult to get around the corners. I may be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, it's in there now. We've done that. Let's go ahead now and work on the uprights and the tie rods, and then we'll change out the steering mechanism as the last thing to do. So I was very tempted to start on the damper stays this evening, but I'm not, because they are currently somewhere over off camera that you can't see, drying, because I've put a little bit of super glue around the outside of the carbon stays. And I'm going to pop this racing steering setup right in the front of here and replace the two pivots that are at the front of here with these lovely alloy blue ones. So let's get started on that and I'll show you guys what that looks like when I'm finished. So this is the outgoing part here and this is the new blue part here. So the only thing that's different is it's got a ball bearing in the middle and obviously it's made out of alloy. So it's pretty much a straight swap, although you do have to watch out because some of the hardware that's going in here is going to be slightly different. So let's take a look at that. Right, you should be able to see what I'm doing here. I am putting this, I don't know what these are called, screw parts or screw pins, or I don't know what they're called, screws, into here. And I'm going to tighten that up a little way, halfway in. I've got no idea how that looks. I'm probably going to go until it feels like it's fairly tight, like that. Then what I've got are these screw posts that should just screw in on top of that. It's not going to go all the way in, that's just going to hold the steering post that way around on there, like that. And this piece here will reattach, I think, to that piece. So it should be fairly simple. I'll get the other side done, then we'll take a look at it. The more this build goes on, the more you start to see how these parts are absolutely lovely and delicious. This is all now set up on the servo. You can see that this system is a lot more rigid than the one that I took off. That felt quite flimsy. It moved around quite a lot when you played around with the steering. This one now is a lot more locked in. Should make for a tighter steering setup. Whether that makes any difference with the buggy, it remains to be seen really. But it's done. So the next thing now is to finish up mounting up the stays. Then once the stays are on, I can start working on those tie rods that go with them, put those on, get that all set up, shocks, and we're done. I've got the front and rear carbon stays mounted with all the hardware that goes on those. I've put the attachments on, you can't see them, on the back over here and down here, ready for the shocks to go in there. So we've got shocks to build up at some point. I've got the dreaded job of doing flipping tie rods next, and I hate doing those. I need to do some for back here, that side, over this side, and over this side. I want to do those next. Then I can get the drive dog bones back in and get all the drives all sorted out. Get the steering all set back up again. And then all I'm left to do then is to put the shocks on, put the wing back on, put the wheels back on, and we're done. Which doesn't sound like a huge amount of stuff left to do, but it also seems like an awful lot of stuff left to do, mainly because I hate doing flipping these things. What are they called? Can't remember what they're called now. Right, wish me luck. Turnbuckles. That is pretty nice, isn't it? That's gone together quite nicely. Tie rods actually weren't that bad to do, especially if you've got one of these, because you can slot that in to the tie rod like so and just boop, 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 and spin it around. Job done. Nice and simple. Done the front, put the back ones on, and then we'll be building some shocks. It is really late on a Friday night, but I have finished my TT02B Hop Up. Now, I've got you on the wide angle because, as you can see back here, the desk is littered. In fact, I'm going to pick you up and move you a little bit. The desk is littered with all of the spare parts that I took off of it, which I now no longer need on the chassis. I've got diffs, I've got gears, I've got screws, shocks, shock mounts. It's all come off and left me with this. So we've got those lovely front shocks now mounted up, and they are really, really nice. I wish I'd shown the build of those, because they were quite... If you built higher-end Tamiya shocks, these would be familiar. But they went together really, really nicely. So we've got the front shock tower, we've got the front shocks on. We've got that steering setup in there, which is really, really nice. We've got the same at the rear. So those rear shocks are built up. And if anything, they're bottoming out quite a lot already. So I don't know what to do about that. I probably could have done with, I don't know, doing something, but they are really, really nice. That is hitting the deck and just stopping immediately, and the front end does exactly the same as well. What's also super cool about the front end, and we saw that one way when it went in, and now I can show you those gears in action doing their thing. So if we turn the wheels backwards, you'll see the diff works. I go forward, and then they just spin. They're not spinning quite as freely though as they would do if they were just on a regular two-wheel drive. So I'm going to whip the wheels off and just put a little bit of that friction eliminator, this stuff, in the bearings at the front and just see if they loosen up a little bit more. But yeah, really pleased with how that's come together. So I will get the camera and just do a couple of pan shots for you all just to finish off. But this is ready to have a run. Now, it's been pouring with rain here in the UK. I would love to get this out and give it a quick rip, but I certainly can't do it on the orchard. So it would have to be on the tarmac. And then if I'm on the tarmac with these spiked tyres, I'm going to wreck the tyres. So I think the maiden run for this is going to be the Orchard Raceway once it all dries off. But I am so, so pleased with how this has hopped up. I think it's going to be pretty hard to see this not having a good run out on the Orchard Raceway. The only thing that slightly concerns me is I think I might have lost even more ground clearance, especially once it's got a pack in it. I think I've lost even more ground clearance off the TT02B chassis than I had before. But yeah, maybe that's going to help this thing out. We have got a jump going back into the Orchard Raceway this year. Let's see if that helps out with the TT02B. Right, a few pan shots to finish, and then we're done. Thanks for watching. See you all soon on the OAG RC.